Good day, class. Welcome back. This week we are starting to wrap things up a little bit. You have your Essay 3 that is due and your extra credit. Remember, if you need an extension for Essay 3, you need to contact me before the deadline and request that. There will be no extensions for extra credit, so you do need to submit that by the deadline. Now, please remember when you're working on your extra credit that this is a writing class, so make sure that you write a proper introduction for the image or the figure, okay? Show the figure, caption it properly, describe it, and then discuss. And in the discussion, you can use I, me, or my, because this is a discussion about what you are grateful for or how you are coping with the pandemic and what you're doing to relax and find joy. So make sure that you do use detailed language, integrate writing techniques, because everything you write should have writing techniques. The description is a writing technique, but after that, if you're going to tell a story about what you're doing, then that's personal narrative. If you're going to give some examples of other things you're working on and practicing and doing for fun, then make sure that you use the proper transitions. Don't just think because this is extra credit, you can just kind of write willy-nilly. You need to make sure that you're practicing the skills that you've used all along. And that should just be understood, but I thought I'd go ahead and remind you because I've seen a few extra credits that were submitted early and they didn't involve any writing skills, and you need to make sure that you're using those. Now, there is no limit on how many techniques you can use or anything like that, but you do need to make sure that you're practicing good writing when you're submitting your extra credit. Okay, so on to the final presentation. Now, this will be the last piece of homework that you work on for this class. I know that's exciting, you're almost there. Now, this is a PowerPoint presentation. Now, you're welcome to use something like Prezi or Google Slides, but there's a caveat. You have to be able to submit it as a PowerPoint or a PDF. I will not accept links to a presentation. And the reason is I have to keep a copy of all of your work for several years. And if it's a link, that link could expire, you could go in and change something later, someone else could change something, or it could just simply disconnect or disappear. So I do have to have an actual copy of your presentation. Now I'm gonna go over some of the rules for your presentation. Now this is a 6 to 12 slide presentation. That means you've got some leeway as far as how many slides you're going to include, and that's entirely up to you. The minimum is 6, the maximum is 12. It's really designed for what would be a 5 to 7 minute presentation. Now you're just showing the PowerPoint. You're not going to record a presentation or anything like that. I'm just receiving the PowerPoint. But this ties in with presenting arguments visually, okay? It's part of what we're learning in this class. How do I make an argument that I can show using visual images to convince people to do something? Because a lot of what we do in the professional world is present to others to get them to change their mind. We might send an email or a letter like you've practiced. That letter could be turned into an email or a memo very easily. And the other thing we do is we stand up in front of a group, whether it's a team we're working on or our supervisors or colleagues, and we'll stand up and we'll try to get them to do something, to take action. And so we need to do that visually. Now, I'm going to go through what's required and what I expect on each slide, and this is outlined under the Essay 3 presentation. Now, this is a presentation on your Essay 3, so you do not need to do any additional research, okay? No additional research, you're just using the information from your Essay 3 to create this presentation. Now, I'm going to go over some of the guidelines. Your slide 1 needs to have a title of the presentation. Do not state your call to action yet, give it just a short title. And your name, okay? Slide 2, that's where you introduce the topic. So a few facts about your topic. Very brief. Do not use sections of text from your essay. These are going to be short and brief. You'll look at the sample that I've provided under news. You'll see that you need to use bullet points, okay? Keep it brief, words, phrases, maybe a few sentences, but that's it. Okay? Do not copy and paste large sections from your essay. That's not the way a proper PowerPoint should be made. The idea of a PowerPoint presentation is that people are reminded of what you're discussing when you're presenting, okay? It gives them keywords, phrases, things that they could jot down in their notes. You don't want everything you're going to say on your PowerPoint. So again, this is words, phrases, kind of key items. So give us some of that key information when you introduce your topic on slide 2. Now, slide 3, this is where you begin to give us information from your surveys and your interview. So you could have a quote from your interview. You need to have at least 2 charts on this PowerPoint presentation. So you could have them side by side. You could have them on 2 different slides. It's entirely up to you. You can create the charts, or you could use charts that were created if you use SurveyMonkey, for instance. But the charts need to provide us with some useful information. You can't just say, 30% were freshmen and 40% were sophomores. Don't use the descriptive information. This needs to be information tied in with your argument specifically. So make sure that you choose charts that fit your topic. You can always create them in PowerPoint. So you can create a pie chart or a bar graph or a line chart, whichever ones you choose, but you do need to have at least 2 charts or graphs. Now, since you're creating these, you don't need to cite them. You've created them, okay? So while you don't need to cite another source, you do need to caption them. So you would put your name as the author. You have your title for the chart, okay? And then you would have the date it was created. So make sure you have that information there. Now, you can go to the same link that we used for captioning figures, and charts and graphs are considered figures. So you would cite them in the same way, but you would be the author of these. Now, like I said, that's slide 3 and then plus. You may have 2 slides on that. You may combine it into one. It's entirely up to you. The next slide will be, what does this information mean? And this is kind of like that warrant paragraph, okay? So give us some bullet points, some highlights of the significance of this. What does it mean? You also need to have a slide that's a call to action. So what is it you want changed? And then the next one will be a discussion of the benefits. So if this change is made, how will that benefit the community, or how will that benefit students in your specific population? Give us some specific benefits. Now, you do need to include at least 3 pictures in this presentation, 3 pictures. Now, some of those can be decorative, okay? So just to kind of maintain our attention, you do want them to fit the topic. You also need to have 1 picture that can be used as evidence. And you can include that anywhere in there, but it needs to be 1 picture that's evidence. That means 1 picture that is essentially an example of what you're talking about. And you do need to caption that, since that will be used as evidence. You do need to caption it. So make sure you caption it and give the source information, and we've discussed how to caption a figure. Now, that's your whole presentation, okay? Now, it's 6 to 12 slides. You'll see the outline of what goes on each slide under content, under final SA3 final presentation. Now, a couple of things about creating a presentation though. I've mentioned what you need to have in this one, but there are just some good basic rules that need to be followed. You need to select a background. Now, it could be a theme, or it could just be a background color, but you need to choose something that fits your topic and will maintain the reader's interest. Be careful to avoid using too dark colors. So if you choose navy for your background, black text doesn't show up very well. So maybe you choose white text instead. So keep that in mind. Same is true if you choose a light background and light text. You don't want them to blend together. You want them to be easily readable. You also want to choose a template for your presentation so that each slide is consistent, and you can find those when you create your PowerPoint. There will be a section of templates that you can select from. Each slide has to have a title, with the exception of the first slide. The first slide is actually the title of your presentation with your name. After that, each slide does need to have a title. Do not title them with the information I gave you that goes on the slide. So for instance, when it says introduce topic on slide 2, don't write introduce topic. What is your topic? That should be the title of the slide. When you have information about the surveys and interview, then title it with whatever you're discussing in regards to your surveys and interview. Don't write surveys and interview. Give them actual titles so we know the content of the information, not just the topic of the slide. Some other things to keep in mind when you do integrate your images, make sure that you crop them, that you maybe put a frame around them or create a shadow. Do something so that it looks fully integrated, not just like you simply copied it from the internet and pasted it into your PowerPoint. You want it to look a bit more refined, so maybe you add a frame. Maybe you make the edges curved instead of sharp, and you can do all of that again in PowerPoint when you select images, and then you can hit adjust or crop or add frame or whatever it is. You want it to look very refined. Keep the size of your text in mind, Okay, you want the text to be kind of consistent, so you want the title larger than the rest of the text, but you also probably don't want to use 12-point font. That's very tiny. So you may increase the font. You want the slides to be balanced. So if you have bullet points with information on the left side of a slide and the right's blank, that looks very unbalanced. So go ahead and add a picture on that right side. You want it to look balanced. That's very important to looking professional and maintaining the listeners' or the viewers' interest. Now, you do not need to use outside research, but you will need your last slide to be a works cited page. Now, if you're going, well, if I'm not doing outside research, what am I citing? You're citing your survey and your interview. So you can go to the link that talks about citing sources in MLA that I provided earlier this semester, and you can cite your survey and interview. Now, you are the author, so you put your name, and then you'd write the information there, like survey or interview and the date. You just need to make sure that you have those cited on the works cited page, and do format those in MLA on your last slide. Now, let me know if you have any questions. You will have 1 week to complete this assignment, so you have until Tuesday of next week. So you've got plenty of time to create this presentation, and remember, you are just submitting the PowerPoint. You are not actually presenting in front of a camera or anything like that. If you have questions, do contact me. Now, finally, before I leave you today, I want to talk to you about your Essay 2. I'll be releasing those grades today. Now that you've almost completed or completed your Essay 3, you can work on revising and resubmitting your Essay 2 if you want a new grade. So keep an eye out for the feedback on your Essay 2 so that you can do that. Now, I hope you all have a fun time creating this presentation. You're almost at the end, and I know you can do it. Let me know if you have any questions. I do want to say that this week we will have our Zoom meetings on Thursday instead of Friday. And the reason I'm doing that is so that you can get started working on your presentation, and then you can talk to me a little earlier about any questions or concerns you have. Now, I do encourage you to join the Zoom meeting. It is an excellent opportunity to ask questions and get information. You'll remember I do have 2 times that I offer the Zoom meeting, at 2 and 8 p.m. Central Time. So that allows for anyone, no matter where you are, to join. I wish you all the best. Take care. Have a lovely week, and I look forward to seeing your presentations. Goodbye.